Hi, my name's Colton Leahy, for those who don't know. I'm a anti-geoengineering activist. I make a lot of posts daily about the ongoing climate engineering issue. I try not to get personal feelings too involved in the equation, but given the fact that I am young, you must forgive me sometimes when I allow myself to go a little bit off the handle. I lost some friends recently over this whole issue. It's been tough, but it isn't anything that I've already thought about before. I've already long since considered the consequences that I might be faced with if I choose to pursue this. And I'm just one guy. I live in this small town, you know, back of the woods, Cape Breton Island. There aren't very many open minded people on this island, you know. When people have an opinion on something around here, it's pretty fixed. But no matter how impossible it seems, that hasn't stopped me. A lot of people know who I am, and a lot more people know about this issue thanks to efforts that not only I made, but my friends and other activists as well. They did the best that they could with the resources that were available to them. And I wish I could say the same for myself, but sometimes it's like I'm overwhelmed with this great sadness that sometimes I find it difficult to even go outside. With no longer being at work ever since I quit my job, I've been living the easy life really. But it's not really all that it seems, because eventually everybody's EI in Cape Breton runs out. Everybody eventually has to get another job, and that's what I'm working on right now. But our economy is shot here. Cape Breton, it's a really sad story. Our leadership is shot. There's people in power that shouldn't be in power. I've tried to reach out to them and acquaint them with this geoengineering issue, but I guess it's not very high on their list of priorities, whatever their list of priorities are. But again, we see with the weather recently that things aren't going so well. It's December and it's pouring rain. It's December 10. I'm not saying that we haven't had unusually warm temperatures in December, but it's scheduled to be 14 degrees. And I say scheduled because, as we know, the weather isn't really predicted anymore. The weather is created. With climate engineering, the military is able to not control the weather, but to manipulate the systems that are already in place. That's the difference between control and manipulation. And I just needed to pick this apart because too many people just they try to get under my skin, but if you are, I'm going to address the reason why you're wrong. So I don't say that the military controls the weather. I'm saying that they manipulate the weather. And there's a big difference, because if you have control, then that implies that you have all the variables into consideration and that everything, the result that you get is exactly what you planned for. This is not the case with geoengineering. It's not the case at all. They don't have control over this situation. Believe me. Don't actually, no, don't believe me. Just take a look and see for yourself. Do a little bit of research and investigation into this issue, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They're not in control of the situation at all. If anything, it's making the situation a lot worse. It should not be 14 degrees in December, and we all know that. The sun should not be as bright as it is, and we all know that. The truth, we already know. But the next step is to get past the denial and to step outside of our comfort zone a little bit, and to put it in a way, get our hands dirty. I know we're not car mechanics here, but really, we do. We can't just look away from this any longer. It's done. We have to face what's happening to us, and we have to let others know before it's too late. I don't mean to come across as desperate or urgent, but there is a sense of urgency, and I've been wasting way too much time. And I hope that you can forgive me for that, but I was having anxiety attacks. I was having a nervous breakdown. I was thinking, I was overthinking, and I was like, I kept relating unrelated events together. Like, I kept blaming myself for other people's problems. Like, I'm good at making connections where connections exist, but I'm also good at making connections where connections don't exist. Some of my opponents have used that against me, and they said that my rationalization and my reason in regard to climate engineering is based off of unrelated scenarios that I'm connecting because I'm wanting or choosing to connect them. But this is the difference between climate engineering, which we have scientific available data to prove that it's real, and baseless conjecture, which I only engage in when it comes to matters of like emotions or other people. Like, I make a lot of connections when it comes to people. Like, I try to understand their reason for doing things. I maybe read too much into people sometimes, or sometimes I don't read enough. But it's not the same with science. When it comes to science, I pay due diligence and I make sure to cover all my bases. And if I make a mistake, I look into it. I haven't really been corrected all that often on this issue. I've had people that were a little bit nasty with me and downright condescending, and you know who you are. Some of these people linger on your Facebook. They like attach themselves to you like they're like, you know, parasites, really. They just want to suck all the life out of you, literally. But like, just because you beat someone in a debate, let's just clear the record here. Just because you've managed to put together your points or argue on an issue that maybe I was a little bit unfamiliar with, maybe it was the kind of day that I just wasn't thinking clearly, but one debate and suddenly you think that that's a case closed, that's negligent. You have to pay due diligence. We were only talking about the ozone depletion, and my point that I was trying to get across was that UVC should not reach the surface of the planet. If you look at any scholarly article on Google right now, it'll say the ozone absorbs UVC. It'll say at 95% of the radiation that comes from the sun, it says 95% of it is UVA, which means that 5% is UVB and 0% is UVC. But is that the reality of the situation as we know it? It is not. And even though I lost that debate against this character because of the fact that I didn't have all the resources or materials readily available. But even before the debate began, it wasn't even really a debate. He actually gave me the impression that he just wanted to talk the shit. So I was just talking the shit. I wasn't even trying to be smitten or anything or arrogant. And it just changed. And he was coming at me, and all of a sudden we went from, it's like, okay, we're having a casual, friendly talk to, okay, now you're like, you like want to lock horns with me type deal. And that's exactly how it went. And I was caught off guard. And I guess that was the point, you know, to make me seem like if somebody presents an opinion that opposes me, then I don't want to hear it because I only listen to what I have to say. People have tried to paint me in that light for a long time. I don't understand it. Like, I get that I get a little bit absorbed in myself. I think we all kind of do, though, Mr. Social Medias. Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, who doesn't, you know, get a little bit sidetracked. But I always come back to this climate engineering because it's the number one priority for all of us. It's going to affect us the most. It's only a matter of time. And in regard to the UVC debate that I lost, or rather I failed in that one exchange, there's equipment available to measure for UVC when it's coming into the ozone. But the equipment is not designed to detect UVC. It might say that it is, but they don't actually calibrate it. It's not accurate because these systems are not designed, because UVC is not even supposed to be a factor in the equation. So when they built these devices for tracking the UVC, they were never calibrated to detect UVC to begin with. So there is a very specific type of measurement that needs to be taken in order to get the UVC. And that's why we have that former NASA aeronautics engineer, or sorry, avionics engineer, and he worked for NASA. He was an avionics engineer for 40 years, and he's in contact with geoengineeringwatch.org. And he's giving UVC readings that are off the charts. And he also gives a big rundown on how that's all going to pan out in the next couple of years. But, like, I'll just repeat what he said at the end of his statements. He said, "Still don't believe me? Then go outside, look at the sun, tell me if it's still as bright as you remember it, and tell me if you don't feel that burning, that hotness that you feel, the warmth. But it's more than warm, it's like it burns your skin upon immediate contact. That's how we know that it's true. That's how in your face the reality of this situation is. Anybody that wants to create any more excuses is doing a huge disservice to the human race, their family, and themselves most of all. We need to be honest with ourselves, even if the truth isn't all that pleasant and we don't want to hear about it. It isn't that I shut people out of my life because they don't validate me or they disagree with me. I shut people out of my life because they literally drain my happiness. They drain my, they push my buttons on purpose. It's called gaslighting. It's when you basically try to get under someone's skin, or you try to get something out of someone, and it's not even a fair trade. Like some of my friends, I'm a friend to them for their convenience, but I'm not actually, I don't mean jack shit to them. They don't give a fuck about me. And that's hurt over the years. Come to terms with that. I'm not, you know, invulnerable. I don't just not feel, as some people think that I do, because I could be so cold and calculative sometimes. But I feel just like everybody else does. And when you are neglected like that, and it's been a long history of social neglect, because I was a little bit fucking weird, and I'm still kind of fucking weird. But it's like I have isolation issues. Like I just, if I'm not talking to people, like I just think that nobody cares. Like if I'm not messaging someone on my phone, or if I'm not messaging you on Facebook, it's because I think that you're doing something with your life, or you're hanging out with other people, because that's what I'm used to when I was a little kid. Like I could be sitting on the bench, no, everybody else is talking to everybody else. Everybody has that group that they fit in, and then there's me. Like I just don't. Like there's I would talk to people if they were talking to me, but nobody ever there was always something for them. That would be the only reason that they would talk to me, usually. I did have real friends though. I had close friends. I'm just saying that I grew up with this mindset that basically people wouldn't care if I disappeared or fell off the face of the earth. It would be like I was never even gone. That's the way I feel sometimes. That's why when I went and took my trip to Alberta and then to Montreal, I actually felt happy. I felt at home because nobody knew who I was, and it was like I vanished. I almost wonder if I didn't come back, would anybody even, notice that I left type deal. That's just the way I feel sometimes, deep down. But you know what? I know it's not true. And especially lately, I've learned that our thoughts can deceive us. I've gotten over a lot of my anxiety. I'm not sad anymore. I'm not brokenhearted over a couple of bad relationships. Stupid drama. But if a person doesn't like you for who you are, then that's their loss, right? Like, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what people think of you. Like, if somebody doesn't like me for who I am, then that's tough titties, I guess. You know what I mean? But anyway, sorry, I'm going a little bit off topic again. I was starting out really strong, and then I wandered away again. But that happens with me. Like, I don't know, just, instead of like talking about climate engineering, I just decided to talk about what I've been personally experiencing lately. And that's what you'll notice, that same pattern on my Facebook. Like, I'm talking about climate engineering, and then all of a sudden I'm listening to music, or I'm talking about something like my personal feelings. Like, but if you wanted to just like filter that out and focus on what I'm actually saying, that stuff's more important. But like, a time will come. I'm making the transition. It'll become more about climate engineering. I'll stop including my personal feelings, but like, I just felt the more honest I am, maybe the more seriously people might take me. We're already over 15 minutes, so I'm just going to finish with this. There's something really fucked up going on with the weather, like 14 degrees in December. That's a little bit ridiculous. I'll be handing out flyers to people to help acquaint them with this issue. All I ask is that people get involved, get in the game. We're running out of time, and if I didn't already try to make that clear to you in the past, I'm still trying. I'm still trying to get through. I don't think it's too late yet. I don't. Not just personal feelings, but even if we just consider the logistics, the Earth has been around for millions of years. If we did something like to take climate engineering out of this equation, yes, it will get hotter. I know it will, and it'll be scary. I know it'll be scary. But if we don't do it, if we don't stop it, it's going to be way too hot for us to handle. And it must be stopped immediately. That's the whole point. That is my higher calling in my life, is to expose and stop geoengineering. And believe it or not, it might be your higher calling too, because it's all of us. All of us are on the same boat now. We've always been in the same boat, but now we're in a boat that's slowly sinking. So we must all play our part and do what is necessary. I was removed from the Cape Breton rant room, so I can't really post anything in there. But if you want to post in there and let them know, if you want to link this video, I'd sure love to get the message out there. Because there were about 8,000 people in that group. So I know that some people seen the dialogue. Well, I just wanted to let them know that the dialogue hasn't ended. The story isn't over yet. And I'm not finished. In fact, I'm just getting started. And you'll be seeing me out there very soon. The next time, if you have a problem with me, I'd be more than happy to take it up with you face to face instead of behind this screen. I'd be more than happy to go over a little bit of climate engineering 101 with you, 1v1. You know what I mean? Quid pro quo type deal. Seriously. Like I said before, I'm not fucking around. Like, this issue is serious. I don't care who decides not to be friends with me anymore. I don't care about the past. And it's not that it's dead and gone and I buried it. Like, I will carry the wounds that people have inflicted on me, but they won't destroy me and they won't defeat me. I'll never give up. I'm going to do this till the day I die. And if anybody wants to jump on board, now's the time. Because we sail for freedom. It's the only virtue worth pursuing. We are all the ones that we have been waiting for. So let's play the cards that we're dealt and make this a world worth living in. Again, my name's Colton Leahy, and if you'd like to see more ways how you can contribute and make a difference, visit geoengineeringwatch.org. Check out the activist links. There's two-sided business flyers and color glossy materials. You could actually have them, if you ordered them, they'd be sent straight to your house. I already got 2 orders in. I got the first order in, and then the second order, Dane actually sent me personally, and he signed my name personally. It was his handwriting. I know that that's no big deal, but to me it was like, it meant something. It was like, it was personal, like, because I did want to meet him. Maybe I'll still get the chance. I hope so. But in the meantime, I'm going to do all that I can over here on the east coast of Canada. Everybody keep up the good fight, no matter what part of the world you're in. Together, we'll all make a difference. Together, we'll weather the storm. It's not just a Cape Breton motto. It's all of us. because we're all one. We're all one big community, and as corny as it might sound, we're also one big family. So we better start acting like one. We either learn to love each other and live together in harmony, or we're going to get used to dying together. And that's just the way it's going to go. So let's not go down without a fight. Make your voice heard while there's still time. Thank you. And I hope you have yourself a nice holiday season.